Okay, it is February the 24th, 21, and there's only one listed stock. There was another one, but it looks like it was just going to fade the rest of the day, and that has been a common theme. This one might fade too, but who knows, it might pull up a nice move. I actually did this right here, this pre-market high breakout. I just wasn't there when when that happened. I just did not see that in time, but I don't know if I would have even bought. Maybe an uptrending head and shoulders setup. This would have been the wick to risk off of. Immediately this candle started making the move. I would have waited for a consolidation candle perhaps, but you know, this is speculation. I don't know. It's no longer really a head and shoulders because it did break up higher, so not much of a setup. It's just going to be the same as yesterday, I believe. Just looking for number 5 setups with OTCs. If I trade something, that will be my last day trade for this week. There's nothing wrong with that. So because I only have one day trade left, I might try to be a little more cautious and just wait for the absolute best. Number 5 setup, I think the one that I mentioned yesterday worked very nicely. Even though it was fading like this ridiculously much, because it was down 40 something% on the day, made a very nice number 5 from 163 to 270 a little later in the day, but well before 10. Very nice, pretty impressive move. So we'll see. You know, it'll be another day for number 5 setups. Maybe this listed stock, if it does some predictable moves. This one's already breaking the highs, you know, almost about 20 minutes earlier than the other stocks that failed. So who knows, this one might be a confirmed runner. Already has 30 million shares, more than the other one, so this one might have some potential. I'll just have to keep looking. Okay, it's 9:18 a.m. I wanted it to be a confirmed breakout setup. So for example, this thing was starting to dip and I was considering maybe a buy in the 40s, right? If it rounds up, shows good price action, and once it had this little dip here, then it followed up with a green candle, tried, and it even broke the high again. I didn't like that. That was some bad movement, and then it closed all ugly. Had a big red candle here, and then once we had this big red candle, the level 2 was not looking good. 640 was gonna break, and then 630. It might still do it, but I would have liked it at the 640 level. So even if it works out, I'm not gonna trade it for that reason. This thing it might turn out differently. It held 630 very well, even though it broke under it. This one might end up being a runner out of the few NASDAQ stocks. A lot of these just fail, but I'm not gonna trade it for this reason. Even if it works, then maybe I was off by a few pennies. Instead of the 640s or 630s, that might be the case, but I'll just make an adjustment. I'm not going to trade it. Just looking forward to the market open to see, you know, if there are going to be number 5 setups, and if there's going to be a good one that I would like to trade. Okay, it's 9:33 a.m. A few OTCs had a drop at the market open. This one, I could have bought this one in the 82, I think, maybe the 81 level. The problem is that I just didn't pull the trigger on this because it's a sub penny stock, and I'm just freaking scared of those. It has a nice chart. If you look at a 14, it's not that bad, although there's been better ones out there. This one had nice support at 8 or 80, if you want to call it that. You know, now the 83 to 88 so far. It just looks nice. I mean, I saw when the time to buy was and everything like that. Lots of people on the bid now. This is looking nice. I just didn't buy this because I just, you know, sub penny stocks are just freaking sketchy, and there's some other ones that, you know, might happen anymore. Excuse me, there are some other ones that might happen in the future, but no other ones that I really see doing a number 5, at least the way I would like it to be. A lot of them just had a gap down. I guess the only other one would be ADNY. This one is probably going to work out. I just didn't trade it because it's a sub penny stock. I guess I gotta be less scared of the sub penny stocks, but yeah, this one in theory was gonna work out. I had an order ready in theory to buy when it was at 80 something. We'll see how high this one can go. It doesn't really have the best, long-term chart, but it's pretty good if you just take it into perspective. But with the bubble and everything, it's not that good, but we'll see how well it does. There are some people on the ask. There is a lot of support as well. We'll just have to see. Number 5 setup could have been at 80 something, like 82, 83. Now at 92. That's impressive. Again, I just didn't want to trade it because it's a sub penny stock. I would prefer one at least 50 cents, but sub penny stock, I don't know. So far it seems to be working. That's a weird one. Yep, I'll just have to keep looking. Okay, it's 9:53 a.m. It's not too ideal, but SYPR in theory could be inverse head and shoulders forming, shoulder, head, and then it could maybe, if it does a spike to the 720s ideally, and then it drops again and makes a shoulder, that would be a great buy. I've considered just a few times buying, but I just don't want to because it's risky. This thing could just continue to be sold off, so I'm gonna wait for that to happen. Otherwise I won't trade it. HPNN, actually, yeah, it was a number 5 setup from 81 to 97, which is pretty good, and I just didn't trade it because it was a sub penny stock. It wasn't too ideal. And on the other screen, I actually left a note on this one and a bunch of other OTCs that said needs to run more. If it had maybe a better daily chart, probably would have considered it more, but in the next time I will consider trading it. It's just just a bit spooky to trade sub penny stocks, 125,000 shares. Didn't really want to do it for that reason, but in theory, yeah, it worked out. I just what fears me is that another issue comes up with TD immediate trade with a delay, letting me know that I'm in the trade. So then I don't know that I'm in the trade, and then when I figure out that I'm in the trade, because it tells me later it's at 90, and you don't know if it's gonna fade back to where it came from. So that is something to take into consideration, and I didn't want to risk that on the sub penny stock. But hey, this one in theory did work. A lot of stocks are down. They're just not really doing number 5 patterns. This one happened to do one. Another one is ADNY, just not doing it. BRGO, again, a lot of these like ADNY, if you gotta look at the daily chart. It hasn't run enough for it to really do a successful number 5. A stock that is constantly going up every single day, so that when it has a big drop, a lot of people who missed it, they say, oh, now is my chance to get in, right? So you just take advantage of that extra volatility, especially with people who had stop losses. So that's the idea. So a lot of these that are down today, they're just not really doing it. Some are. NGTF, let's see if this one didn't really do it. MEDT, it's not doing it. Again, some of these I just wouldn't have traded because the volume is bad, the daily chart is bad. I'm just going over looking at which stocks are down the most. However, this one might have done it, but it just didn't. The volume was just not there for it. CLIS, did I do that one already? Nope. That one looks sketchy. I guess I was good at picking the right one. This one worked out too. It seems like I missed it. This one was a bit later, but this would have been very hard to buy into because it literally bounced like the next minute. It wasn't like this where, well, I guess for some reason I would have been able to get in at 81 there, but those are kind of hard to call. I was watching this one closely. Didn't see the other one. That one was a good one that actually worked out too. STHC, no, not really doing it. So yeah, just a lot of these that aren't really doing it. Overall markets are down a little bit too. I guess let's look at the ones that are up the most, just to compare them. Some of them I did miss in terms of it uptrending. SAMP would have been a nice breakout buy above 226 right here. Well, that would have been kind of scary to buy into because it was already running a lot. This one's up too, just not really liking it. Yeah, just a lot of things I don't like at the moment. SYPR, if it, oh, it's already selling off, I'll take that back. Yeah, that's why I didn't want to consider buying it, because it could have been sold off like it is now. Could have been a potential inverse head and shoulders had it have spiked to the 720s. I haven't really seen those working recently, so yeah, I'm just thankful right now that I had this opportunity, even though I didn't take it because it worked out. It could have been something that I could have traded, but you know, it's just totally fine. I'm just gonna keep looking for more setups. I'm gonna take it easy. Maybe no more setups, but it's 9:58. I'll keep looking. Okay, I haven't really been in the market as much as last video, and I'm gonna just call it off here at 11:38 a.m. HPPN was a number 5 setup. Could have bought this in the 81s, and I don't know when I would have sold. I don't know if there would have been issues with TD and media trade, but I think next time I'll consider it. I'll definitely consider it, even if it's a sub penny stock. And you know, those things are pretty sketchy just because, you know, we're just in this bubble. It's kind of ending, but a lot of nice OTCs are making moves. AABB, the most prized of them all at the moment, it's not really doing as good as it used to be. INTV is at 67. Remember my dip buy here in the 40s? This is impressive, but I wouldn't have held for the next day. Number 5 setups are quick and easy. SYPR is just being sold off into nothing. So again, just no action with the listed stocks, unfortunately. Although there is a lot of action with the OTC markets. There are some runners like SAMP, but really no setups in terms of what I've wanted to trade. This was a kind of hard breakout at 25 level, and that would have been good for a little bit. This would have been a confirmed breakout, although not the best because it did drop slightly below the level, and then Tim went long this stock, so it might have affected it. But just overall nice setups. Just again missed this HPNN setup, number 5 sub penny stock. It worked out, and yeah, that's what I'm gonna leave it off at. I think there was one more stock that I wanted to check again just to see how it did. It was WDLF. This one was a number 5 setup that worked too. This one went from 18 to, I guess initially to as high as 21. So not as much range, I think, compared to HPNN, or at least easier to trade if you ask me. But yeah, just gonna call it off. Some nice number 5 setups, a bit less than the other day, and this was a sketchy sub penny stock, but it would have worked out had I have done it. I think next time, if I'm in the same situation, I will trade it. You know, that's how you get better. Nice to see it work out, even though I didn't trade it, and that's all I can do.